Epcot's Flower and Garden Festival is back, but if you don't know what's new and what's completely overrated, you could waste your day. And I'm not gonna let that happen to you. I'm giving you everything you need to know to make the most of your visit. This year, Disney has added brand new topiaries as well as 2 new food booths. I'll cover all of this in just a moment, but first want to talk about some of the hidden experiences that sometimes people just walk right by. There are several global gardens throughout the festival. My low-key obsession this year, and it's really easy to overlook this one, is the prehistoric plants garden near Cosmic Rewind. This has plants that have survived since the prehistoric times, but there are cute little dinosaurs hidden throughout this garden. It's just precious. Although if you're like, okay, this sounds awesome, but when does the festival even start? Can we get a little basic festival information? I got you in just a moment. Also, this wind is so intense, it's literally making my eyes water. Oh, they're great for festival days. However, if you're like, I know what Flower and Garden Festival is, this has been on my calendar for weeks, you can go ahead and use the timestamps down below to skip to what's new this year. But now for the most underrated attraction, especially at Flower and Garden Festival. Now, I love this ride, but for Flower and Garden Festival, it gets a total makeover and is filled with edible flowers, Mickey topiaries, and just springtime goodness. Another little hidden gem, and that is the tea tour over in the UK Pavilion. This is where you can go around and learn about different teas, how the process is made. Oh, and it's totally free. All right, let's take it back now, y'all. If we haven't met, my name is Molly, and I bring you Disney tips so that you can keep creating magical memories. The Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival runs March 5th through June 2nd, and this is included as part of your Epcot admission. That makes this one of the best uses of money at Disney World because you get tons of festival exclusive extras in addition to everything else here at Epcot. The festival features gorgeous topiaries and gardens throughout the whole park. There is the Butterfly Landing Garden, which is especially incredible because you are surrounded by butterflies. There's also the Garden Rocks concert series every night where you can see a different musical act throughout the festival. Oh, and of course, can't forget that there are tons of springtime inspired food options with many delicious food booths throughout the festival. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. One of the highlights of the festival, and I don't know how it's even possible, but Disney has outdone itself again this year because the topiaries are incredible. Moana, Maui, Pua, and Hei are making their debut at the festival for the first time ever. Can you believe that? Disney always puts the largest and most prominent topiary at the front of the park, and it's usually inspired by a recently released movie, hence Moana 2. Moana gets the spot of honor this year. Encanto held that spot in years past, and that topiary has returned at the entrance of World Showcase, but it also is sporting a lighting feature, and that's one of the cool things about this festival this year is that a lot of the topiaries are getting enhanced lighting that allows them to be enjoyed in a different way at night. Like we have Asha and her star, Mirabelle and her firefly maybe, and Goofy and his light up dandelions. Over in Norway, Anna and Elsa have returned, but this year Elsa is sporting a lovely blue snowflake cape. Then there's Baby Groot, or well, maybe Teenager Groot, but his topiary debuted last year for the festival and it was over by Guardians Cosmic Rewind. This year, however, he is getting a more prominent place. Catch him hanging out over in World Discovery, and do not miss out on the hidden Mickey that he's got going on. And for the first time in 8 years, they've returned, and maybe because they're getting a new season on Disney Plus this summer, which I am totally here for. Joy and Friends are getting a garden here in the World Celebration area, along with the new Play Along, I gotta check my notes on this one, hold on. Play Along Bay Play Garden. That's a mouthful. It's a new garden located over in the Rosewalk area on your way to World Showcase, kind of near Imagination. But that's not the only thing that's new in this area, because if you are here for the food, which first off, you're my kind of Disney fan because same, there are 2 new food booths this year and they're both located over there as well. There is the Yacht Grub and Beach Grub. Get it, nice, Yacht Grub is serving up elevated seafood, and Beach Grub has fresh coastal flavors, along with street corn, which is one of the items on the Garden Graze. The name of these food booths, and actually the play garden as well, is a take on the yacht and beach club resorts that are just outside of EPCOT. And if there's one thing about my Audi, it's that she loves a good pun, so I am delighted by this. Kind of looks like this flower is looking at Communicore Hall. It very well may be, because with the 2 new food booths over in the Rosewalk area, that means that Florida Fresh as well as Epcot's Farmer Feast have moved into Communicore Hall this year, which is also home to a new interactive gallery all about how the Disney Horticulture team brings this incredible festival to life. Like, did you know that the way they keep these stunning living sculptures, the Topiaries, alive for the entire festival run, even with the harsh Florida sun, is because they build in an irrigation system inside of the Topiaries. And speaking of incredible Topiaries, Figment, mascot of Epcot, back where he was last year in the very center of the World Celebration area. And if you notice the little 30 on the Topiaries over there on their little mouse ears, that's a nod to this festival's history because it is the 30th anniversary of Flower and Garden Festival. Happy birthday. Back in 1994, this festival started with what was supposed to just be a one-off occasion, but it was so popular that here we are today. One thing I love about Disney are all those little details like that. For example, every part of this topiary is intentional, and the flowers down at the bottom are meant to reflect the African sunset, which mirrors the movie's iconic visuals. While over in Norway, the frozen topiaries are surrounded by blue, white, and purple flowers that reflect the cool wintry tones of that film. One other detail I absolutely love, and I say this every chance I get, so you may have heard me mention this before, but it's the miniature train that's over in Germany. Disney makes tiny little banners for that village that are the exact same design as the large banners that are all around the park. Another little detail that I learned recently is that Spike the Bee, who has a prominent place at this festival, is actually a Disney character from the 1940s. He originally appeared in classic cartoons with Donald and Pluto. Now he's part of the fan favorite Spike's Pollination Scavenger Hunt. How this works is that you go around and look for Spike hidden in different locations around the festival footprint. Then once you find him, you put the sticker that matches on your map. Once your map is completely filled up, you can redeem it for a fun prize. But if you're doing the scavenger hunt and there is a prize that you really want, make sure to grab the prize before you begin your scavenger hunt. That way, if there's a prize you really want, you make sure to get it before it sells out, because that does happen. Or if for some reason you aren't able to complete the redemption map, you still will at least have your prize. You can pick up a scavenger hunt map at different gift shops throughout the park, including the Creation Shop, the World Traveler Shop, but my favorite under the radar location to get a map is Gateway Gifts, which is right at the entrance of the park. And if you're here around Easter, there is a limited time scavenger hunt called the Extravaganza, get it, Easter, you know. And what you're going to be doing is, instead of looking for spikes around the festival, you'll be looking for character-themed Easter eggs. But let's get real for a second, because the food at Flower and Garden Festival, legendary status. Did you know that Disney will literally reward you for eating? There's a list of eligible treats that are part of this year's Garden Graze. You go around and collect at least 5 of those treats. You get the stamp in your festival passport booklet, and then once you have gotten 5 treats, you can come here to the Pineapple Promenade to get your surprise completer treat, which is usually a fun souvenir with a tasty exclusive Dole Whip flavor. Now, a misconception I sometimes see about the Garden Graze is that you have to get 5 unique items. That's not the case. As long as you have 5 items purchased from the list, you are good to go. You can mix and match and get 5 of the exact same thing because, hey, you're on vacation. Why not? There are 10 items this year that are part of the Garden Graze, and here are the ones that I say are actually worth it. Number 1, the avocado toast over at EPCOT. Now, this is a festival favorite. It's been here for several festivals in a row, and I have gotten it for all of those festivals. Now, the value of this treat has fluctuated with time, I'll be honest, but it's still a pretty solid bet. Second rec is the grilled street corn over at Beach Grub. But Molly, this is a new food booth. How are you going to recommend this food? Glad you asked. So a couple of years ago, they had street corn on the menu and had this incredible seasoned topping that I still think about. And so while I don't know that this is the exact same thing, I have a hunch that it's probably similar. And if that's the case, it's delicious. We've got over in the Odyssey, the Citrus Blossom food booth. This is where you can find the lemon tart, third on my list. Number 4, again, is a new treat this year, and it's the coconut chocolate flan cocho in La Isle Fresca, which is over near Morocco. It's similar to treats that I've had in the past, so I feel pretty confident recommending it. Then, if you're looking for something a little savory, the potato pancakes with applesauce are a classic. It's the day of the festival, yay! I got a free Uncrustable, which I've been in such a peanut butter and jelly mood lately. I don't know what that's all about, but I have been loving them lately, so this is a very nice surprise. But let's talk about some potential food mistakes at the festival for when you don't get free things, so you're not wasting your money. We'll get into more foods worth your time and money in just a moment, because there are hundreds of festival offerings this year. Don't think that just because something is new for the festival this year, you should forgo one of the classics or something you're really looking forward to in order to try the new thing. Now, this is a big one for planning your overall EPCOT day, and I'm all about helping you strategize your Disney day. So it's important to remember that if you're at EPCOT and attending the festival, the food booths don't open until 11 a.m. That means you can spend your morning doing other EPCOT attractions and then focus on the festival after 11. This is one that I see people fall prey to. I've been there myself even. And that is not realizing that there are food booths outside of World Showcase. Some of them you can see along the periphery, but there's even some like Brunch Cop back here by Test Track that are nowhere near World Showcase, and they can have some really tasty dishes. And if you miss out on them, could be missing out on one of your new favorites. Monorail shot. I love it. Hi. And if there's something else about me, it's I'm always gonna get a monorail shot. All right. Fourth food mistake I sometimes see, not having a game plan. Now, you don't have to completely plan out your entire day, but there are over 170 food and drink options at the festival this year. That's a lot. So at least look at the menus ahead of time if you can and have some idea of what foods you want to prioritize. It is really easy to spend a lot of money at this festival. I may or may not know from personal experience. So I'm here to tell you that it's good to have some idea of what budget you want to have before you arrive at the festival. And then using the cute festival-themed Disney gift cards to help you stay on track. Wow, this win. To help you plan which food items you want to conquer in advance, the Disney Parks blog has an entire list of every single menu for every booth at the festival. If you're here at EPCOT, you can grab a festival passport and that will have everything listed as well, so you can make a little impromptu plan before you start making your way around. Also, the My Disney Experience app will have not only a list of all the food items, but also the location of the booth. I'm not sure if the Uncrustables are just a first day of the festival thing, but no harm in looking. If you are curious to check it out yourself, they are right there. I have some more tips on how to make this festival the best day ever, but since it is festival day and everything's open, let's circle back and take a look at floating gardens that are in the water are actually designed with a mesh underneath so they can absorb the water and stay hydrated throughout. Also, learned that topiaries have been a part of the Disney park since 1963. So I think that's why I especially love that this festival celebrates the incredible beauty of the landscaping and theming that comes from the horticulture team. But Flower and Garden Festival isn't just about the incredible topiaries and beautiful gardens. It's also a foodie's paradise. Flower and Garden Festival really leans into fresh, bright flavors. This year there are over 47 new food items at the festival. Now, while some food booths are a definite can't miss, some might not be worth the long lines. So here are the top 10 treats you must try at the festival. Some are a mix of things I personally like, some are popular fan favorites, and some are a couple of new items I think we should give a shot to. These are in no particular order. But starting over in Florida Fresh is the Cubanito, which debuted last year and is delicious. Also in the same area, we have the warm corn cookie in the Farmer's Feast, which is only here for a limited time. Nearby are the chicken and waffles over at the Honey Bistro, which I've never tried but continuously hear good things about. The Pineapple Promenade right back here also has the iconic violet lemonade. Oh, and when I was over there taking a look, also noticed that the redemption prize for the garden graze this year is a packet of seeds and a pineapple plant-based vanilla swirl for the Dole Whip flavor. I don't know if that's going to hold throughout the entire festival, but it kind of sounds like a normal Dole Whip to me, but hey, you get a cute little fries with it. Also, Japan is a consistent winner no matter what the festival is. And for Flower and Garden, you can't go wrong with the frushi and the ramen cup. While over in France, cheese plus garlic equals winner every time, and that's with the croissant de chèvre. The carrot cake liege waffles in Connections Eatery sounds interesting, but a returning favorite of mine is the barbacoa tostada over in Mexico. And then for this one, I was on the fence whether I should include this or not, but I know it's really popular and I might just be holding a little bit of nostalgia for its predecessor, and that is the liquid nitrogen honey cheesecake. However, there is one potentially divisive trend this year at the festival, and that is lavender. Now, like any good millennial, I've had my share of lavender vanilla lattes, but there are some interesting takes on it this year, including the Provence poutine over in Refreshment Port, which has fresh lavender on it. What's your take on this? Is it a miss or a must? Now that we've talked about some of the best festival bites, let's talk about everything else Flower and Garden has to offer. With dozens and dozens of topiaries, where do you even start? Moana and Friends, which are new and over at the front of the park. Figment, icon in World Celebration. Cute little pandas in China. Mickey and Friends on the Pathway to World Showcase with their new flying a kite scene in the Encanto family. And I figured out Mirabelle is holding a butterfly. Goofy over in the Rose Walk, I especially like because last year as the festival went on, they added more dandelions, so be curious to see if that happens this year. It's a very cute little touch. Lion King, Simba and Friends over in World Nature, Tiana in America, the beautiful Beauty and the Beast over in France, and the sheep from the Toy Story topiary near Imagination. Just the sheep, especially that guy. Another thing you absolutely cannot miss are the festival exclusive shows on Spaceship Earth during the Beacons of Magic, which starts around sundown. And because I want this to be your absolutely go-to guide for everything Flower and Garden 2025, that kind of rhymed. Also want to mention that there are special magic shots for this festival through PhotoPass, like this cute little Figment one. There's also special merchandise this year, and a lot of it has the 30th anniversary logo on it. Woo! I know we've covered a lot, so let's take a scenic break. Which is understandable because there is a lot to this festival, but there's some common mistakes I sometimes see people make. But not you, because you're watching this video, and we're gonna make sure you don't waste a single springtime second. Not using the Disney dining plan to maximize your festival experience. You can actually use your dining plan snack credits at certain festival locations. Missing out on an awesome treat because you didn't realize that the menu changes throughout the festival. Certain booths like the Farmer's Feast actually have 3 different menus depending on when you are attending the festival. And if keeping up with menu changes wasn't enough, there are over 70 topiaries, 25 gardens, and 25 food booths. That's a lot to keep track of. So make sure to grab a festival passport. You can get it at the front entrances of the parks and throughout. That's going to have all of your festival information, times guides, booth locations, booth menus, everything you're going to want to know. But like I mentioned earlier, you can also get this information on the My Disney Experience app. Oh, also don't miss out on using the directions feature on the app to find your festival fun. A mistake I also see people making is sleeping on the Garden Rocks concert series during the week. That's because Tuesday through Thursday, the concerts are either local bands or tribute bands. I totally get waiting until there's a more iconic band playing because there are some huge names that come to this festival. This year, my millennial heart is beating for 98 Degrees, Simple Plan, and the Plain White Tees. I'm so excited about that one. But the tribute bands can actually rock just as hard. I saw the tribute band Foreigner's Journey last year, and it was an incredible show. Actually, I've seen tons of concert series at different EPCOT festivals, and it's usually the 70s rockers that put on the best performance, like Peter Noon and Mickey Thomas of Starship. But there are also a couple of new acts this year, including Maverick City Music, which I'm a fan of. Some of these performers are really popular, and there can be a really long line to see this free concert. But if you don't want to wait for a long time or even potentially miss out on a concert because it filled up, you can guarantee admission by getting a Garden Rocks dining package. This not only guarantees a good meal, but also a seat at the concert that night. My vote for the dining package is always Morocco. The food is seriously underrated, and it's really close to the American Gardens Theater where the shows take place. Although there are multiple EPCOT restaurants that are part of this, serving options for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so whichever one works best for your EPCOT day. Now, I totally know this isn't always the case, but if you have any flexibility on when you come to the festival, or if you want to start planning for next year's festival, because it's never too early to dream about your next Disney trip, try coming to the festival earlier in the run. Everything is fresh and new and vibrant, all from being recently installed, plus you're probably going to get better weather. The beginning festival is like this little brief window before the harsh Florida summer really takes over. Although no matter when you do come to the festival, get to the butterfly landing earlier in the day. It's a little less crowded and the butterflies are flitting about. It's so precious and such a sweet place to hang out. Now, the butterfly landing doesn't have official opening hours. It's kind of later morning and closes around dusk. I love that such a beautiful thing is free with your EPCOT admission, especially as Disney is getting more expensive and more overwhelming. But that doesn't mean you have to waste your time or money. On this channel, I break down exactly how to make the most of your Disney trip. If you want to experience more magic and less stress at Disney, subscribe because I got you covered. As always, I'm Molly, and I'll meet you on Main Street.